Hi, welcome to today's session on candlestick patterns. Now, today's session is interesting because this is probably one of the most commonly misunderstood concepts of technical analysis. People make a great deal out of candlestick patterns, like for instance, we have got the morning star, the rising doji, the hammer, and all this kind of stuff. But actually, it's not as complicated as what you think. Now, candlestick patterns effectively is just trying to communicate to you a certain price action. And we just read off the certain price action to understand the strength of the chart. Whether is it in a strong trend or a weak trend. Is it showing strength or is it showing weakness? Okay, so we are looking out for rejections, price rejections out there. And let me give you an example. Okay, let's say we see this chart on Ethereum, right? Ethereum, you're looking at Ethereum against US dollar. Now, if you take a look at the chart on Ethereum, we saw that we had a very green candle here, but we had a big wick, what we call a wick, top wick, which means that in the day candle, the intraday price action was moved to a high of about 1600 before it closed at about 1398. Okay, that's effectively telling you what happened on this day, on the 13th of January 2018. Now, the main message on this candle is basically telling you that when prices were trading intraday from 1300 to about 1600, this range above there, 1300 to 1600, was basically rejected. Right? It wasn't able to close at a level within that range. It only managed to close at 1398. That's basically a rejection, a price rejection, which means that there's resistance over here. So let's draw out a resistance section, okay? This is resistance. This is resistance. Prices couldn't manage to sustain a move and stand at this level. It had to get rejected and come back down. Okay, likewise, if you see a lot of wicks, if you see common trends, common wicks, for instance, this area here at the bottom, where it is showing you there's a lot of common wicks where price barely touched this zone and then it couldn't sustain a close over here. It had to close above. So this area is obviously a key range of support, I would say. And if we do manage to break this range, there's a good chance it will eventually break down lower. Like what we saw over here, there's a bit of whipsaw price action where it managed to close down, but then there was a price rejection back up, which means that price wasn't ready to trade below the range. So you see that price was still consolidating within this range. And then finally, when price managed to close below the range, it was a confirmation of a downtrend. Okay, so that's the key message here when you're looking at candlesticks. It's really about the intraday price action and the closes. Okay, and how you deem the zones respectively. So the wicks, don't underestimate the power of the wicks, because the wicks essentially guide you what is the zone that you're looking at. And if you get a breakthrough of the zone, it's likely that price has found new strength or new weakness and is likely to break into a new trend. Now, most people are not able to tell or be able to pick up signs like that, but if you master this technique, which is to really read candlesticks in terms of the price action, you don't really have to care about the respective, Japanese symbols, whether is it a morning star or it gets too complicated. Sometimes you really misread the overall message. So the whole idea here is to just understand the price action, understand the meaning of the price action, and that gives you a good idea. Okay, let me give you another example. Let's say we see this candle here. We see this candle, okay, let's take a look here. Okay, now the candlesticks here, you saw this high on the 400, it sort of like touched twice, and then we had a rejection lower. These are green candles and followed by a big red candle lower, which means that when prices was nearing this level 400 thereabouts, you had a lot of Ethereum sellers coming in to drive a huge red candle down, which means that this level 400 is a very strong level that a lot of sellers are looking out for to come in to be selling, which means that if we do manage to take out the 400 level and close above it, if you take a look at this price action here, you had a green candle that managed to break past, but what's more important is the next candle, and the next candle had an even bigger green move higher and close above that. Now that is a very strong technical sign of what we call, if you've listened in my previous chapter, what we call resistance turn support. And this is a very powerful concept, because if you're able to learn this concept, you'll be able to read price charts very effectively. Now, we managed to break this resistance and it becomes a support. Now, whenever this kind of things happen, usually the next corresponding price action is we usually get a retest. A retest is what we call a confirmation. If you see this retest here, you see this. You see this? This bounce, there's a wick here, it retouches this resistance turn support, and then it bounces back up. It tested twice, in fact. Now that is a confirmation that this line here has now transformed from a previous resistance into a current support level, and it managed to break. Now this principle is also the same for this area here, where you get a resistance level and the candles are telling you that these levels are all unable to be broken. But once we finally get a breakthrough, we then move to new highs. Likewise, you get a retest subsequently over here. Okay, so in essence, that is the whole idea of candlesticks. Candlesticks tells you the intraday price action, it tells you the closing price action, and the closing price action gives you confirmation whether we are able to sustain a move into a new price channel. Okay, so that's it. Those are the most important concepts you need to know about candlesticks. It's basically a simple concept that tells you about the price action, and once you understand this concept, you can apply this to your daily trading and you're definitely going to become a better trader. Okay, so I hope this session here has been useful. If you have any questions, just feel free to write to us, or you can just rewatch the video. I'll see you in the next chapter. Okay, see you.